Everyone, we are back to some farming. At least he is. I'll be pitching in with the farming a little bit later. I've got a broken window I've got to go fix because the temperature is going to drop. And boy, you know, I'd like to keep those houses winterized and not have snow and ice and rain coming in. The storm window's doing the job right now, sort of. So the farming goes on. He came out yesterday. He started doing some hay cutting. He's trying to get into that and he's having some PTO trouble. This guy's just a pro at this. He's going to go get his hay rake so he can help Dad today. Come on! There's always a grease job to be done and broken teeth to be repaired. And Trey says he's going to get his rake, which is just funny because he does help an awful lot with the hay raking. It's real good to get the kids out. Simple with like trailer type implements that they can run. His dad has total confidence in him in just going and hooking it up on his own. I said, well, let me walk with you and I'll just go ahead and make a movie while I'm at it. He's inviting George to go off on the tractor with him. And I said, that's too much responsibility to deal with a 3-year-old and a tractor. That's how farm accidents happen. He just goes along. Be careful, you remember how Leg Arm broke his arm, okay? He had it pulled up and hitched before I even got all the way down the lane. He's a pro. But yeah, you know, these farm boys, they grow up thinking that they're able to do anything, and that's a terrible thing that happened to Leg Arms. We had that big red floor jack. He found it was rolling and not staying quite where it was supposed to, and we returned that jack back because a jack should not be rolling like that. And I don't know what jack they had, but I know it was a tremendous amount of weight that it was holding. Judging by that blue color, it was like a Campbell Hosfield, I think is what it's called. I know there's other brands too, but I was just looking at a blue jack like that over at CarQuest. And it's hard for me to be a good judge of a floor jack, so leave a message in the comments below because Guy's birthday is next month and I'd like to replace this floor jack for him. I think we've tried to replace it twice now and it either doesn't get done or we got that one from Menards and I see that big red brand is the same one that they have at Tractor Supply. So, you know, we had the Harbor Freight special before and it lasted for years on those little spring loaded deals that make it lift. We're just getting stuck all the time and that's no good because you either, you know, what if it's an emergency and you got to get it up quick? So definitely thinking of farm safety ahead of time for that because there's always equipment to be worked on, there's always jobs to be done, and he's been relying on a bottle jack to do a lot of the work. And you know, you're talking about a much smaller lifting base than what you get on a floor jack. And you know, I know they can have a lot of capacity as far as lifting, but for ease of operation, you know, and everything, for me, I prefer a floor jack over a bottle jack. So they got a lot of hay cut yesterday. He went from way over there to here, and it looks like he's about here and got all the way up in there. You know, it starts getting to be rectangle and it starts going faster because you're knocking out all those irregular angles but he's done quite a bit. Yesterday it sprinkled a little bit. It wasn't supposed to. It dried off. It sprinkled a little bit when I was driving home last night past dark. And now it's saying that there's a 40% chance of rain later on today. And he said, you know what? It's going to be cow feed. It doesn't matter. It's not going to go bad because of the low temperature. Let's just go ahead and get it cut. The cows are good that way. If it takes a week to dry out, they really don't care, and you're not losing so much nutrients with it being the cooler temperature instead of like in July, so it can stay there. If it does get baled damp at all, like it ferments into this sweet tobacco smell. We've had it round baled that way into baleage, and they just absolutely love it. Trying to feed damp bales or damp round bales in the cold months where it can like start freezing together in a round bale is messy, and it's a lot of work. So hopefully it'll all dry out for him. Now in comparison, this is one of our east fields, the closer of the two east fields. He's just over on the other side doing some cutting there, but as he cuts it, I mean, this is, you know, about calf high in this high hill area, and in some of the areas it's quite a bit thicker and deeper, and this has been established for several years now. So we got some unexpected rain yesterday. It's real cloudy. They've been out, you know, doing their clouding. So we've already gotten a couple of light frost, and any blossoms that were left on here are turning brown, and you know, you start losing some of your hay quality, so it's a good time to get it cut and get it up. With it being slow drying, it could be days before we can actually get this baled. We're supposed to get kind of, you know, 2 days on, 1 day off with the rain, and we're thinking we're going to possibly be able to get it in the barn by Wednesday, maybe not even for a full week. So it's going to sit here and dry out. I'll show you up close that south field that's right over there, how that one progressed. To show you up close, all this brown is mature clover. So it started getting more mature and has gone to seed, and as he clips it, some of those seeds do get left behind, and we're constantly like reseeding ourselves. I know that some farmers will turn it all under and plant over again because they want a high alfalfa count, which can be necessary with dairy cattle, but for fattening up and raising steers for market, it's not quite as necessary. From what I understand, the clover is going to be slightly less protein than what you would have in the alfalfa, which is where that comes in with the milk production in dairy cattle. But this is a good, nice mix. Third cutting always is. That clover never really takes off well until later in the season. So we're in October now, and we have a great mix right in this patch of the clover, the alfalfa, and the different grasses. Where the second cutting has so much alfalfa in it, and if it's a dry year, you don't get as much grass. So our second cutting this year was real high alfalfa content, and we just plant it for a mix for all conditions that can happen in Michigan, because like I've said before, if it was all grass and you have a drought, then you've got no crop. If you plant all alfalfa, then you're lacking some of the other nutrients, and you're going to have to supplement with other feeds. And we're trying to do just grass-fed beef here. So here's our south field, and this south field didn't get planted till I think August. It was real late. Maybe it was July. I'm kind of losing track of time here. But when it finally did get planted, it took off really good. You can see we don't have a lot of grass where he cut it, but there's a good amount. We needed to get it cut just for maintenance and to have it cleaned out and to not let any weeds go to seed. So this is an area that previously I had done my first disking last year, and it was just like a snowfall going through here. So we're really trying to get this established as a good hay field, keep those weeds down by constant clipping so that they can't keep reproducing, and it will all be feed for those cattle right there. They're all mooing at me right now and would like some lunch, so I'm going to go ahead and get to that. The $1,000 tractor has a very weak PTO. First he started out fourth gear, then third, then second, then first, and it just wasn't keeping up. So he quit cutting. He's going to go ahead and do a swap we've got two John Deere 60 parts tractors, and he's thinking he might be able to just take the gearbox or the PTO box off of those, and hopefully one of them will work. Or he can take the two to fix the one, or take the two to fix them both. Either way, he's got farming to do, and I wanted to come out and check on the animals before I headed off for the day. Now this hay trailer, we've been feeding the oat hay out of it. We have about one storage trailer left, maybe 300 bales. So we've gotten this down to the good grass hay so that more grass hay can fit on that. We've got plenty of space in the barn that we can add some more hay storage here. He's also kind of thinking about parking a tractor or his truck in here to keep things dried up. So there's a good amount of space here. This is probably about 200 bales space right here. And each row in the storage trailer is 30. So we know just between these two areas alone, we can hold about 3 stack wagons. We didn't get a lot of rain for a lot of the summer after we got our first cutting of that oat hay. So we don't know how many bales we're gonna get, but we've still got the entire loft above the old pig pens up here in the barn. There's also a good amount of storage up there, but then I have to move all the straw or restack it, and I already did that once this year. I'm not real keen on having to move things a bunch of times. Just moving that old hay elevator is going to be a big enough job in its own. So I'm going to find Dad. I got to fill up my fuel and get on with my day and see where he went for his parts. Well, it's been over a week. It's been going on 2 weeks actually. The hay isn't drying. We keep getting about 2 days of rain, 1 day of dry. Today is a high of 46. Yesterday was a high of like 56. So that's the way it goes. There's a chance of rain this afternoon. We're just trying to do crop or field maintenance at this point. He went ahead and cleaned up all the fields, raked it, baled it, and of course it's just not drying out, and it's as green as the day he cut it. So he loaded it all up. I don't even know how he picked it up because I don't see the stack wagon up out of place anywhere. Maybe. He said he got 44 bales. That's the waterway and like 20 acres, and I think he said the waterway is 2. That is a very low yield for what we're accustomed to, and we didn't want it just sitting there because when you get into your first cutting, the grass that turns brown and matures and dries, it just knocks over, and it really makes for a bad, unsaleable first cutting. So this whole year has just been a crapshoot with the hay. Let me turn this around and show you what we ended up with. So this is what we have, and even with it being there, you see the color still changes. It's varying anywhere from mature browns to greens, but the steam coming off of that, I told him don't leave anything just in ground contact unless you're going to feed it right away. So of all the 44 bales, he put them all right here by the fence to be fed today and tomorrow. Generally you can fit, I don't know, 20 or so bales depending on how bulky it is. This is a mixed bale that was the oat hay that we cut last time, mixed with some of the newer stuff from the waterway. You can tell it's a lot more green because it's more of an established field. So we did get a little bit of hay from the new hay fields. He was hoping to be able to go over there and cut that last, I think he said 20 acres today. So yeah, that was 30 over there that he did. So 32 acres, I was off. But you can see it's wet, it's muddy, it's cold. The poor guys, I've been wanting all year to get into building a shelter for them. We've got oats springing up all along here. It's been too wet to mow. Oh, the bulls are going at it over there. We've been letting them stay together. He crossed the line, and the younger bull is quite large now, and they like to play. And play turns into roughhousing real easy, just like with boys. So anyways, it had gotten so wet for a while that we had to unplug the fence because we had flooding here and there, and between tall grass and high waters, we were grounding out the fence, so we unplugged it for a little while, and that bull crossed the line a couple of days. He'll just walk right through here and push his way in, and then you end up having to replace a couple insulators. But, well, I figure let him be in there for a couple of heat cycles with the girls, and then we can end up with some late spring, early summer calves. He's been in there for quite a while now. I think he's been in there for, oh, probably 2 or 3 months. I've been busy with the workhouse for a while, so I've been having to neglect my farm chores around here, which has been resulting in a few less farm videos. And with a low rainfall year, there wasn't a whole lot of hay farming going on. It is amazing to me how a field full of weeds can be plowed under, planted to hay, and in a very short time, you've got a nice looking crop. This is a perennial crop. It's going to come up. It's going to feed our cows for years. It's going to supply our customers with hay. It's just great. It's a great thing to be doing for the land. We did the rotational farming, and he just found that for this land, especially with this field being as wet as it was and having washout all the time, that having this field especially planted to hay was really going to be helpful in this farm long term. This creek goes through the whole farm, and here and there it gets a little more shallow than others, and the water level's actually a little bit high right now. I thought I'd be able to cross here, but there is no gravel bottom. We've got watercress growing. It's beautiful, but I want to get to over there. I think I'm gonna have to find another route. Okay, so I found myself another route to get across. And the good thing about this route is I can check the electric fence. The bull decided to come on over with the steers today. So just the baby bull calf is down over there. Well, he's not so much a baby. We talked about that. But I get to walk along all these weeds. And I think it's time to get the brush hog out and mow this down. Boy, haven't been down this way in a while. You can see I've got a nice meandering deer path all over the place. We went all the way around the fence. I went all the way around the fence with the string trimmer probably 3 months ago, so it had plenty of growth to pop back up. I was trying to keep the thistles down and keep it from going to seed. But you can see when we get water, it runs all across there from that creek and down into here. Something just ran right out. I don't know what it was. There can be deer lying low through here and you don't even know it. They are so good at laying still and hiding. It's amazing any hunters get any deer at all, unless that it's just in travel when the deer are out moving. See, I just came up in a couple of spots like this. The deer were actually laying in this, having a nice little rest. I don't know why they would prefer to be in this area. They can't get anything. This gives me a chance to check the 3-line fence going in between. He just pushes himself through, and they're not under a lot of tension. Once in a while, if he does that, he'll pop them right off of those insulators. But they look okay. And this is why they haven't been drinking much water. The cows are the strangest creatures. They'll come out here and drink this muddy water that's standing from the rain and not touch their water that's up in the tank, fresh and clean. All right, I just crossed a channel that we had dug there to try to drain that spot. It only drains it so much. Oh, this is all so overgrown. Here I've got my mint growing. There's a video on the channel when Bethany was a tiny little blonde-haired little girl, like 3 or 4 years old. We were out here picking this mint. Somebody just dumped it out, or it grew wild, or maybe they planted a crop one year. And that's just an area where it all gathered, and it is plentiful right there. I haven't done it yet this year, but Bethany just got a teapot and a actual china tea set. I go to the thrift stores and I picked her up a beautiful set of saucers and teacups. And last week I found her a cream and sugar set. And then I found her at another spot a little teapot. And everything's just slightly different. But she doesn't care. She's happy about it. Okay, this is where I normally cross. It's a lot easier spot. Hang on, here we go. Gotta do it quick. So, I haven't dried any mint yet this year. And we've got a couple of frosts, so I need to really get out there and get a little bit. I'm sure I've got plenty still saved in the basement. I dried it out in the food dehydrator. And then chopped it all up and preserved it. Oh, this is beautiful. There's a lot more hay here than there has been in other spots. So that'll bale up real nice. I was just up by the cows seeing what he had sitting there. He said this was so much thicker and wet the other day it wasn't cutting real well, so he had to stop. I figured he'd work on it all day today while I was gone. I've been off working on wood floors. So he's still been here working on the Eager Beaver trailer, working on hay, working on fencing situations and cleaning up the woods. This year has been the best year for that sickle bar mower. He has it absolutely fine-tuned, and we ended up taking some parts off of the other one. We'd like to get another one so that we have another parts sickle bar mower, because when you start looking at parts for them, it just really starts adding up. I picked him up a bunch of hay rake teeth today, especially when it's in new ground. It really chews them up, so we try to make sure we have as many on hand as we can get. And I think I bought about 24 at the store last month for him and bought them out. They didn't get a replenishment, so I stopped by another Tractor Supply today, and we tend to get them from there because they're $1.99. They're a single hole attachment on the boot that goes around the bar. The Tractor Supply ones, $1.99, $8 through John Deere for theirs. And when we found that they had, you know, the universal fit ones, we thought, well, we'll pick up some of these. I don't know if the rubber's any stronger or better, but when we compared them, brand new, they looked exactly the same. Trey took the other shortcut. There he is. He's been out mowing. The free stuff on the side of the road has been insane. He got a self-propelled Lawn Boy lawnmower for free. Every now and then it clicks a little bit, like it's got a thing stripping out or a broken tooth. How's the mowing going?
Good.
It looks great over there.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks for doing that.
I only did a little bit so far, but I've done some.
Well, it's been so wet, it's hard to get any mowing done anyways. Look at that.
Super dry for it, so.
Just lays it right down. That's tall.
So we're gonna cut this, Daddy said.
Oh, yeah. Well, when I walked through here before, it was about 10 days ago, I think, when he was cutting the far, far east side over there. I'd have to check the date stamp on the film that I took then. This was all frosted and covered in little ice droplets all this morning. We only had 2 decent days all this week, today, and I think Tuesday or Wednesday was decent, and it's been in the 40s. But we've done hay this late. Last year, Trey was just watching a video where we were pulling the hay trailer out in about January because we had filled it in December and left it out over in that far east field. Not this year. I'm gonna get it all out of here. It's a lot different situation. This semi-retirement's Okay, so right over there is the last hayfield that he was working on, and he got 291 bales from there, and he only got 40 bales from the other section before. So this is really nice looking hay, nice and green. So he's got to get up there and get that pulled down. We lost one of the wheels off the corner, and they're a real tiny, tiny wheel. You always want to keep your hay covered or protected from the sun as much as you can, because the sun will bleach it out. Over time, you do lose some nutrients from it getting bleached out. Like these barn doors don't like to close, so we try to put the straw, or just, you know, the outside bales get used for just sacrificing to protect the rest of the other hay bales. Once you get past, you know, the top layer is always covered in raccoon poo in the winter. Cows don't care. They eat it just fine. So the 70 is sitting here ready to go for baling. I think Trey's out on a 730 right now. Trey is raking this entire field. He's going the full length. He's been up here. We've had customers going in and out for tanks and burning barrels, and they just think it's great to see him out there working, and I think it's great too. I came home last week and he was running the backhoe all on his own. He's just a natural born operator. He's probably got, we figure, 3 or 4 more acres to go. It's getting to be close to 5 o'clock, maybe a little after. And it's been getting dark at about 6:30. It just keeps creeping up. It was 7:30, then it was a little after 7, and I noticed this week all of a sudden it was just 6:30 and it was dark, and I pretty much work until it gets dark when I'm at the workhouse so that I don't have to drive home in the dark with the deer and the hunters. But it's just been working out that I end up working a little bit past. Today I pushed hard so I could get home. It was nice to have a little shorter day today. I was working on the varnish on the floors and was able to get them all done and pick one other little project to do and get out of there. Get the what? Oh. So you can see the row has got some leaves in it. The cows won't care about that. These 2 maple trees, it all blows out here. This is several passes. I don't even know how many he's done, but I think he's on at least his 4th or 5th pass. Not a whole lot, but he's having fun doing it, and every extra bales we can get through the winter. It was a very bad growing season. If you don't already have your hay in your barn for your livestock, whether it's horses or sheep or goats, cows, you better get it, because there's not a lot going on with the hay auctions the whole year. You pretty much got to have an in with the farmer. And over, I keep hearing from customers who are coming here getting, you know, 20, 30 bales. Their regular hay guy has got standing hay. He couldn't get out in the field because it was too wet, or he just wasn't cutting it because it wasn't growing. You cut it in a drought and then it's going to stress it and you're going to lose it. So fortunately with the alfalfa mix that we do, you know, those roots go down so deep that we just haven't had that. I say it over and over again. I will preach it till I die. You've got to have a good mix planted in your hay, because if it was all drought, you're not going to get any grass. If it's too wet, other things might not do good. We've had weeds for competition. The grass fills in, the other stuff fills in, and you stop getting some of that weed competition over time. So right now we're at just under 350 bales on 35 acres, and in a normal year that would probably be doubled. It's just been very thin, and because this is a new planting, this is the field that we planted this spring, and I think he started to rake that south field that stays so wet, and he said the treads were just digging right in and leaving marks, and he didn't want to damage the hay and then on top of it be in the wet and the mud, so he just quit that. That's probably just going to stay there. The deer are over there every night cleaning it up anyway. So you can see he's not getting a whole lot here, and he just keeps raking it over a little further and a little further. You know, you can get leaf shatter from over raking it, but you don't want to run your baler so much that, you know, you're not picking up hardly anything, because that's real hard on the baler to do that too. I would say, in my mind, it's better to have that wear and tear on the hay rake with some leaf loss than to have that wear and tear on the baler, because the baler is not going to be able to pick it up off the ground anyway. He sent me to Tractor Supply. I picked him up another 24 teeth. I just keep them in stock. They're real cheap. They're $1.99. They're seeming to be breaking a lot more, but the last time we checked it was, you know, $8.99 for a John Deere one. I don't know if those would last any better. We might have to find something a little different. Now that we have more acres planted to hay, we've actually been talking about, you know, something a little bit different, because this is slow. It's real great for Trey. He gets right out there and does it. But, you know, there's no money to be made really making hay, so you've got to be real careful investing in equipment. So he's got a real beautiful day. It's supposed to be about 70 today. I gotta go get some groceries and get some lunch. We're going for a walk to go find some acorns. We lost one of our best old oak trees, and we want to see if we can find some acorns from it so that we can possibly start growing some in some pots so that we have some offspring from that, because we had a guy out here many, many years ago, and he said that was just a prime location for that tree. It grew bigger than anything ever, and my husband wants to save it so that maybe someday if we ever build anything here at the farm, it's going to be made from that old oak tree. So remember to subscribe, remember to like, hit that little notification bell, and you'll see whatever the next video is going to be about. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.